All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back. Happy Monday. How's it going, Jen?
Good so far?
Yeah,
Happy Monday?
happy Monday. It's actually Wednesday, but he's released on Monday, so makes sense.
Yes.
Today we are talking about, I guess, what it costs your business when you play it safe.
Okay.
Kind of a topic that I think we've touched on a bunch of times. We talk about complacency. We talk about taking risks. We talk about thinking different. But I'd like to dive into those things a little bit today and give people examples, because I think that people are holding their businesses back more than they even know.
Agreed.
And I think part of where that comes from, actually, you know what? Hold on. We always
Opening takes.
start with our opening takes, and my opening take is going to be what I was just going to say. So
Then just
do you
go
want
right.
to go?
Go ahead.
My opening take is this industry, we talked about it last show and a bunch of times, this industry is very much monkey see, monkey do. So people think if something is working for somebody or somebody says something, then that must be true. So I need to copy it. And I think that's a dangerous road to go down. And I've seen people recently who are asking online, what amenities and snacks can I offer to retain staff? And I think that's a wild question. So your staff is staying with you because you give them a reason to, not because you have Diet Coke. Your staff is staying because they believe in your leadership. They believe that they are going to be presented with opportunities. They believe there's a place to grow. They believe that they have a sense of belonging. They believe that they fit. They believe that they're part of something that's larger than themselves. They believe that they're being compensated fairly, not just the highest commission rate, but what does this actually look like? They believe in stability. That's why they stay. Things like that. They don't stay because you have mini bags of Doritos and Dr. Pepper. That's wild.
Yep.
That people think that quote unquote amenities are what keeps your staff, when those things aren't even differentiators. Anybody can get cans of soda and mini bags of chips. What are we talking about? There's nothing unique or different about that in any way, shape, or form. And that's why I think a lot of people are struggling. That's my opening take. Go ahead.
That's great. Mine is we're beyond halfway through the year. And I remember last year, I think it was either November or December, and so many people were asking, what promotions are you running for the holidays? It's super slow. What are you doing to get busier? You're already too late. So here's your warning. You should be planning now for the second half of the year if you haven't already. It's not too late. You can get ahead. Don't start planning when you're already behind. I was just talking with Todd the other day. I actually feel over the years, December has become one of the slower months. And there's a slew of reasons of why I believe this. So we've already strategized, like, how do we market to keep December's numbers above this year, so to beat last year? And we've come up with a strategy of how we're going to roll that out when we get closer to the holidays. But we are creating that now in July for the end of the year so that we keep momentum. When you're already in it, it's too late and it's really hard to get ahead. So start planning now for the second half of the year. Start planning what's going to keep your momentum. Start planning strategies on how you're going to beat last year's numbers so that you can be successful by the end of the year.
That is absolutely brilliant advice.
Thanks.
I am always blown away by what you said first when people are like, December's wicked slow. What can I do? But you're halfway through December.
Mhm.
It's already too late. You've
Yeah.
already lost that month. And that's okay. But what are you doing to plan next December?
Right. And most are just sitting around and then they get hit in the face with December again and they didn't do anything to change it. And then they wonder why they're still feeling the same way.
That's because they're worried about what snacks to serve.
Yeah. No, they're probably worried about the holiday month drink they're going to provide for the clients rather than actually what drives business and revenue.
And look, I'm not knocking that stuff. If you want to have snacks at a salon, at your salon, go ahead and have snacks at your salon. But don't for a second think that's what's changing people's minds about your salon. It's not even the hair that you're putting out that's changing people's minds. It's just not. And I can prove that a million different ways. Maybe we'll do an episode on it specifically. I think we might have. The boutique episode, I think, might have been covering it. And that's when we realized that Hello is technically a boutique.
Oh, that's right. I do remember.
A lot.
Yeah.
Because we do all the things that would qualify as boutique, but we've never once claimed to be boutique, which is just weird. Anyways, let's dive into this. So we want to talk about playing it safe. What does playing it safe look like for people out there? Because I'm not even sure if people realize how safe they're playing it.
Right.
I think a lot of owners realize or think that playing it safe is responsible. And sometimes maybe it is, but often I think what's happening, I need to stop saying I think. It's annoying. Often what I believe is that it's people simply avoiding any sort of discomfort.
Correct.
So let's talk about a few examples. I have a little list here. Remaining complacent. I think that's the biggest one. So not changing anything and thinking that, oh, I'm just playing it safe. This is what's worked. We've seen businesses that are open for 10, 20, 30 years who are doing the same exact thing over and over close. Why is that? They became complacent. People get bored. People want new. People want novel. People want exciting. And that doesn't mean chase every little butterfly that floats by, but you have to be progressing. And if you aren't, you're regressing by definition, right?
Yeah.
Some other examples would be convincing yourself that you're making progress when you're really not. We see that often. People say they're doing one thing, but in their business, they're not. Their actions are saying something totally different, or they're just doing the same thing that they've always done, but they're saying that they're cutting edge. They're saying that they're innovating, but it's the same.
Right. I can't stand that when people just use words, like words about anything, in any aspect of your life, like your actions.
Like luxury?
What's that?
Like luxury?
That too.
That's what I always pick on.
Your actions tell the story, period.
Mm-hmm. What are some other ways people avoid discomfort? Avoiding difficult conversations. Look, you're going to have difficult conversations if you want to be a business owner. If you can't handle that, don't be a business owner. I'm telling you right now. And it's not just with staff. You might have to have difficult conversations when you're negotiating a lease, when you're talking to your lawyers, when you're talking to your accountant, when you're negotiating prices on products that you need. You're going to have to be able to have those conversations. If you can't, respectfully, bow out.
Yeah.
I don't think you should own a business. And that's not, again, being harsh. I want people to succeed. If you can't have a conversation with somebody that's difficult, you can't succeed in business, period. It's just not going to happen.
True.
Some other things we see. Jen, holding assistants and apprentices back. Because you don't want people to grow, because if they grow, then they might leave. Or if they grow, they might become better than you. Or if they grow, they might take all the clients and go rent a booth or whatever, like whatever you're afraid of.
Yeah.
That's why you're holding people back. That's crazy. Don't do that. That's holding your business back too. Those are generators for you.
Yeah. They could be your star player and you're not giving them the opportunity. And I mean, here it is. People leave. It is what it is. Get over that.
True story. Letting poor performance continue. If you allow people to put out shitty products and shitty service, that's on you. That's you, right? So if you can't have the difficult conversation to change that, then you're going to allow that to continue. It's on you. This is a big one, making exceptions for top earners.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen that? I can't piss this person off. They'll leave. They're my whole business. My whole business, 80% of my business is generated by this one person. That's wild.
Yeah, you need to restructure that business.
Not only restructure, but who cares if that person leaves?
Yeah.
You need to be able to figure that out because that person is going to leave. They're going to get bored.
Yes, play on that they will leave. And then what are you going to do? Which means then you have to figure out another plan for not having one person be your driving force. That's crazy.
Exactly. I think a lot of this playing it safe is just fear that's disguised as a strategy. It's like, oh, well, I'm not disrupting this, so I'm playing it safe. Like, you're not really playing it safe. It goes back to just never changing thing because, quote unquote, things are fine. Why would I change it? My business is growing. It's not going to continue to grow. Businesses just don't grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. You have to put work into it. It's not luck.
And eventually you will have a disruption. And then now you're being reactive or you're coming from behind to figure out how to solve this disruption. So why not always come from a place of you're driving the car, you're driving your business, and you're keeping it healthy?
Yeah, definitely. at the end of the day, are you protecting your business or are you just protecting yourself from discomfort?
Right.
I think that's what people could, if you want to know what playing it safe looks like, if you're just protecting yourself from discomfort, if you're creating a problem for every solution, for example, I see people do that a lot. Well, if I do that, this will happen. Okay, you're creating a problem for every solution instead of a solution for your problems. And you're doing that out of fear.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing that, you're operating from a place of playing it safe. And while playing it safe has a role in every business, while pausing has profound impact on any business, just staying stagnant for your own comfort doesn't have a place. It just doesn't. Every time that you make a decision based on comfort, there's a hidden cost. You might not realize it today, you might not realize it tomorrow, but something that you're doing today is going to impact your tomorrow. So, what are some examples of that? For me, it's avoiding that feedback, those difficult conversations, those difficult times you have to use candor with your staff, all those things that you avoid with clients. And what does that do? That stops people from growing. So you're avoiding the difficult conversation. You're not telling the person that, I don't know, maybe needs to step up somewhere. Maybe they're showing up late all the time. You're not telling that person that they're not allowed to show up late anymore.
Mm-hmm. And by not telling them, you are allowing it and the rest of the staff is watching.
Yeah, what was I going to say? By not telling them that they're not allowed to show up late anymore and that if they continue to, there's going to be repercussions. You can't work here and show up late because you need to be on time for your clients. Mm-hmm. That's holding that person back. That's not leading them.
Right.
Then there's no growth. So what about not raising prices? This was a big one a few years back, and I assume it's going to come back around because everything is cyclical and we're seeing inflation, which we see every year. I don't know why it's a shock to people, but I don't want to raise my price. So then you're never going to prove your business model. You're never going to get as far as you could get if you don't raise your prices. Again, a whole bunch of people listening right now probably just thought, I'm in a small town. My clients won't pay that. You don't understand. Industry was hit hard in my town. I don't care. It doesn't mean that you can operate for free or losing money. The majority of salons barely break even or lose money. Mm-hmm. Why are you holding on to that? You're paying. If you're losing money, if you're not profitable or your profit is negative, you are paying in time, blood, sweat, tears, your mental health. You're paying in all those ways. We haven't even got to the money yet.
Right. And don't get caught up in, I'll just work more. That's how I'll make more money. That's not a business plan. That's not how it should be. You should actually eventually be able to work a little less and with raising your prices, make more money. So we're all getting older. You're not getting younger.
True story. So we're going to talk about this in a little bit, but keeping unethical top performers, what happens there? The cost is your culture is going to start to deteriorate. Holding apprentices back. Jen already touched on this one, but your future leaders are never going to develop.
Right.
If you allow poor performance, your standards are going to slowly disappear because the people that are upholding your standards aren't going to for very long. They're going to go, why am I doing this? No one else does this.
Correct.
Clearly, the owner doesn't care. And your staff shouldn't care more than you. That's not a thing.
Right.
All right. Let's go on. I feel like I'm getting irritated. I don't want to be irritated. But what's happening with this, the hidden costs, and what I want to really drive home to people is that allowing your own discomfort avoiding your own discomfort is limiting someone else's growth. And you're limiting the people that work for your business. That's crazy to me that you would think that was cool to do, or that you just will take the easy path or whatever.
I don't even know if people are aware. I think what you just said would be like, whoa, I am definitely doing that. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that avoid discomfort and just think things will change or just think everything's going to be okay and don't realize that you're the one putting yourself in a future bad place.
I see it all the time. I try to give people advice here and there when I see stuff that makes sense for me to comment on online, and because I really want to help people. And oftentimes people will be like, you don't understand. They just won't do that. Or we've worked with people mentoring before who I'll tell them, look, this is what you need to do. And I'm not like that at all. I tell people all the time, take what I'm saying, take what's worked for us, take what hasn't worked for us and make it yours.
Mm-hmm.
But there are times where I'm like, you're losing $8,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
You need to make changes. And they're like, my staff won't stay. And I'm like, you're paying your staff to do nothing.
Right.
What the hell are we talking about?
Mm-hmm.
You're losing almost $10,000 a month
And
so that you don't have to have a difficult conversation.
yeah.
So that you don't have to say my front desk has to generate some sort of income or recommend product. You don't want to go to your front staff and say, you guys have to start recommending products. You have to start doing whatever. You have to, whatever their business might be built on. And we're not huge into retail, but that is something that I've recommended before because I'm like, you have to stop this bleeding first
Right.
before you can even consider growing. But these people, and it's been several times, that just want to remain neutral. They just want to put their head in the sand and they don't want to upset anybody, but they're losing everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just crazy. There was one time I was talking to somebody and I felt like, what is it, the bar rescue, when they're like, shut it down. And I wanted to go there and be like, shut it down. Because I'm like, person is losing their family's savings because they don't want to have a difficult conversation. They need to be a leader and they're just not doing it. All right. So how do you know when it's time to get a little uncomfortable? How do you know when it's time to push things and change versus when you're being reactive, like Jen mentioned earlier? I think it's simple. We talk about this all the time. Do you want to give the answer, Jen?
You can go. You're doing
all right,
great.
So it's your foundations.
Yeah.
It's foundations, baby. It's your mission, your vision, your core values, your goals. Those aren't things that are just words on a wall. Those are decision-making tools. If you don't have those things set up, we talked about, was it last week when we talked about the foundation being your business and then your frameworks or your scaffolding,
I think so, yeah.
Scaffolding that you build off of? Yeah, those aren't just words. That's how we operate our business and we're succeeding. We beat every year over a year. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that for just social proof. We were just looking at our numbers. July feels slow. We're well ahead of July last year.
Mm-hmm.
So even though we're slow, we're seeing what's going to end with hopefully what I expect is double-digit growth,
right?
Outpacing inflation,
which is
and
the goal.
higher,
yeah,
and expanding. Yeah. So, all right, let's look at some examples for what your foundations can answer for you. So say, for example, your staff wants to add a new service. We've had this before. People wanted to add some services and we pause and we ask ourselves, should we add that?
Mm-hmm.
Does it support our mission? Does it get us closer to our vision? Does it align with our core values? If the answer is no to any one of those, it's a no.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, saying no to stuff is what most people should be practicing.
Right.
Because adding stuff is not going to solve your problems. If you don't know how to price things, adding more things to not price is going to compound on your business. Because say, for example, remember permanent jewelry?
Yes.
Everyone was like, permanent jewelry, it's exploding. We should jump into it. Let's add it. Okay, you don't know how to price a haircut, but you're going to add permanent jewelry.
Right.
So now you need to buy the tools for that. You need to buy whatever startup kits. You need to buy the class to take the education. You probably need to add something to your insurance for all stuff that's going to sit there because you don't know how to market it or you've priced it incorrectly and now you're actually losing money each time you do one.
This comes down to that reactive response, right? Which I think happens often, especially with staff. They come to you with one thing and you're like, I have to do this to make them happy. When instead there should be a thought process that goes through anything that you entertain as an idea before you make it permanent in your business.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about color lines. Somebody recommends a product line, right? Or a new product line comes out and you go, I need that new product line. That's exciting. Clients are going to be looking for it because it's new. If I have it, they'll come in. That's not answering any of the questions, though. Should you carry it?
Right.
Anybody can get any product line. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what anybody wants to say, oh, this product line only allows X amount. I don't care. Anybody can get anything. It's not a differentiator. It's more of what fits for your business. Does it support your mission? Does it align with your core values?
Mhm.
Does it move you toward your goal? What are your business goals? Have you defined those even? Because if you haven't, you're just shooting at targets that don't exist.
Right.
And you're hoping to hit one. And if that stuff doesn't align or it doesn't support your mission or whatever, it's probably not the right decision.
Yeah, the gambling approach to your business is never going to be successful.
No. Let's talk about the product story, Jen.
Sure.
So this is what happened. We opened Hello and we had, I don't know, 3 or 4 product lines.
3.
Okay. So we had 3 product lines. And one day we were, let's try to make this a fun little story. One day, Jen and I were looking around the salon and we were like, wow, we're a mini warehouse.
Yeah.
We had tens of thousands of dollars of stock, probably more, sitting on shelves, doing nothing. The staff really wasn't into it because it didn't really fit.
Mm-mm.
Clients, I think, were confused because they were like, what does this have to do with anything?
Right.
And we were just stocking products for a big company.
Yes.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah. That was when my
So-
mindset was basically like brands and retail basically define your business, right? I was very much into that mindset. So when I picked these 3 brands, I'm like, oh, this makes sense. It covers this and that. And I put way too much thought into it for sure. And it
Way too much thought in the wrong direction.
in the wrong
That's
direction.
important, too.
I remember looking around. I'm like, this feels very generic and it doesn't fit the Hello Hair Co vibe at all. There's just nothing here that makes sense.
So what happens next? We start to have conversations with people and we have a distributor or we have a rep that was retiring.
Yes.
And she recommended a product line for us and told us where we could get the product line, which was with a different distributor. So we make an appointment with that distributor to talk to them. So one day, fast forward a couple weeks, the local rep at the time for, I can just say the names,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
The local rep for Sullivan Beauty shows up with one of the owners of Sullivan Beauty. And we start having a conversation. And we tell them what we were recommended. And they say, no, false. Nothing about that brand. It's great brand, great product. Nothing about that brand aligns with anything that you're telling me that you want.
And so for those listening, for me, this was an eye-opening moment of how to use the mission, the vision, and the core values to start making decisions that mattered in the business and took us into the future. I hadn't really understood the concept of what that was going to do for us. And at this moment was like, okay, this makes sense. And pause, listen, and do some research.
So what happens next is they get to know us a little bit and we get to know them. And we're like, these people seem pretty cool and they seem more aligned with our vibe, right? First of all, they're here. When we were working with a giant distributor before, no one ever showed up. Like the rep would show up, sure, but nobody, like the owner of the company didn't reach out or none of the stockholders reached out. They didn't, right. And I'm not saying you have to have that. I'm just saying for us and what we wanted to feel and what we wanted to build, that was an important relationship to have that we didn't even realize.
Right.
So now the owner of the company says, hey, I want you to meet some of the other owners of the company. We'd love to bring you up to our, what do they call it? Knowledge center? Learning center?
Something like that. Yeah.
So they have this great room, which I haven't been to in a while. I've been to the learning center. I think the room with all the whiteboards and the brainstorming.
That's their think tank. I think
think tank.
Call it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
So that's my jam.
Yeah.
So we get there and we're talking, and this happened to be the day, I think it was September 13th.
Sure.
It happened to be the day we launched our first episode of our podcast.
Right. Yes. Okay.
So we start talking about that and we go down this big rabbit hole and we're talking about products and we still don't really have anything solid that is 100% for us, like 100% yes, right? We have some product lines that we've kind of talked about and we're like, oh, that's fun and that's cool and that could fit and let's explore this or let's look into their website or let's check out some more things. And we're getting ready to wrap up the meeting and Jen spots a box with some products in it and she does what only Jen does and she just opens it and starts looking through it.
Like, what is this?
And
Tell
so
me.
it was Tyler, right? Sullivan, shout out. This is so funny looking back, but he was like, yeah, those aren't out yet. You're not really supposed to have those or see them. And so Jen starts laying them out and we start looking at them. And this happened to be Evo.
Yes. It was their color line. It hadn't launched in North America yet.
Yeah. So we're looking at this stuff and Jen is like, this is fantastic. This is really cool. I can see now Jen's taught color for however many years. So she's looking at this line and she's like, this might be what's missing for color because you can be super creative if you actually understand color.
Yeah.
If you know how to formulate, you can really come up with some cool things based on how they have this system set up. So Jen asks about a styling line, and that's coming too. And we end up checking that out, and it completely fits Hello, completely fits our vibe. Doesn't take itself too seriously.
It's fantastic.
Sort of has simple minimalist packaging, a little bit of a sense of humor, some sarcasm. Fast forward even more, Jen starts educating for the line, flies all around the United States training. They fly her out to Australia to train. Like those are the things that can happen when you take the time to find something that actually makes sense for you. So your mission and your core values, they don't just tell you what to do, they tell you what not to do. And in that, you'll find your answers.
Yeah. And so for those of you owners out there, you're like, what the heck? Yes, we got rid of all the retail, all the color, and switched everything over. And our staff was on board 150% because of the way we explained it, presented it, and they understood that it fit everything Hello Hair Co. was for. They didn't even question it. They were wicked excited. Because there's people out there like, my staff would never go for that. It all depends on how you present it. It all depends on the research you put into it. With our staff was like, over the moon about all of it and still are.
Yeah. And now when we explore, because we love Evo, but now we explore every 18 to 24 months, we explore like a new product line. We try to switch things up and keep things novel, but there's still intent behind that. We're not just bringing in whatever the next new thing is. We're not bringing in like, oh, this salon said this is selling well for them, so we buy their buy-in and then go from there. Like, no, it has to make sense for us. And we've even found over the last, this calendar year, 2026, we found companies that we've wanted to work with, but with the people, it's fallen apart at the people level.
Yes.
We will send emails and we don't hear back. And we're like, this is just crazy. Why am I begging you for stuff? Right. So it's not that the products aren't great. They're fantastic. We've used them. We have them. But we're not going to move forward with carrying the brand
if
because
there's no relationship
fell apart somewhere. Yeah, and that's something that we've learned from Sullivan, and it's something that's important to us. If you're like, I don't have time to have a relationship with a distributor, okay, you're going to be missing out on a lot of stuff because that's just my experience. That's not my opinion. That's what's happened with us. And I don't know if Jen would have had the opportunity to go to Australia to study with the creative team of Evo,
right,
if we hadn't had those conversations, if we hadn't moved towards doing what we're doing. And we have a lot of staff that has opportunities. We've had staff in the past that have had the opportunity to educate for brands. We have, can I talk about Gab?
Yeah.
So we had Gab, who was, what did she do last year?
Boston Calling.
I don't even know what that is. I think it's like a concert, but
through Sullivan and Evo got to go. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, so she got to go and cut hair from some people, like artists that were performing in Boston. And from that, now I think today she's at the X Games.
Yep.
And she's cutting hair at the X Games. I'm picturing her standing under like a skateboard ramp,
maybe
giving fades. I have no clue what she's up to, but I can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah.
But these are the opportunities that
we're
those
able
different conversations lead you towards. And if you're never willing to get outside of your bubble, you're never going to create those opportunities. And you might say, oh, some of that is luck, or you're just lucky. I guess maybe, but we're creating our own luck.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we're putting the work in.
And it's by exploring and investigating things that make us uncomfortable. Leadership is another thing that it just requires discomfort. A lot of times you'll hear people say, I don't want to upset them. But who are you really protecting? So a lot of times you're protecting yourself.
I would agree.
That's not leadership. Leadership is when you require accountability, honesty, and difficult conversations. So the lateness is something that we've had conversations with people, Jen mostly, and you've had to say to people, look, you can't be late.
Yeah, we came in
period, and we'll stop. Don't give me any excuses. Don't tell me why it's happening. Just figure it out. You're an adult. And we can't allow that here at Hello because our standard is that you're here ready for your client. Go ahead, Jen. Sorry.
Yeah. So I came into this year realizing I had let some stuff slide last year. And I say me because I'm in there the most, so I see it the most. And honestly, I was avoiding those difficult conversations because they never go well. It doesn't feel comfortable and it doesn't make my day feel great. But coming into this year, I'm like, I can't keep doing this because what I'm allowing is showing the staff that everybody can be late. And if I'm allowing one or two people to be late, then I'm basically saying it doesn't fucking matter. So that led into, we had our one-on-ones and addressed it individually. And then one of them showed up late one day and I'm mixing my color and I'm like, I have to say something. This is just where this goes because I'm committed to this being fair to everyone under this roof. And I need everyone to fit the standard. So there was my first one. I'm like, I don't want to hear excuses. You have to be on time. And it took 3 conversations and the last one being the strongest one. And we cured the problem. And this could have gone either way, but this was our standard and it was my job to enforce it and my job to have hard conversations. And what I did in my mind was, I'm not the one late. So it's unfortunate if this conversation is going to ruin someone else's day, but I'm done allowing it. And once I switched into that mode of they did this, not me. And this is what Todd and I set out. And it's my job to enforce it because I'm here most of the time. And like I said, it was 3 conversations and now it's changed completely. The respect is changed and it's been a win. But it took time for me to get to that because I allowed it for so long.
Yeah, you might not be the one. This is important too. I want to add, you might not be the one that was late, but you are the one to choose to be a business owner.
Yes.
Which means you choose to have those conversations.
Yep.
Which means your staff might leave if you have them.
And your whole staff's watching you. So at the end of the day, they're thankful like that you're making everybody better. Those that want to be there. And that's my goal.
Yeah.
I want everyone to be better. I want you to be a better version of yourself every year.
I want to challenge people. And a lot of owners that I've talked to, that I've actually talked to, not just what I'm reading online, aren't willing to challenge people.
Right.
And I just take the opposite approach. So our approach is when we challenge people, they grow.
Yeah.
If you avoid challenging people, they eventually stop growing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying pull the rug out from people's feet, but help people see where the rug is going. This isn't about surprising people. This is about communicating clearly and bringing people along with you.
Yeah, show them the path.
And if they don't want to go along with you, that's okay too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want any of our staff to leave. I think right now we have a great staff. There's not a single person that I would be like, oh, I'm happy that person left. Or, oh, you know what? It's a little bit of a breath of fresh air. We've had that in the past. This isn't all unicorns and rainbows. It's a lot of difficult stuff. We've had people in the past that I've thought to myself, I wouldn't say this out loud and I didn't say it to Jen until toward the end, but when is this person leaving? That's what I would say. I can't deal with this person anymore. And that's on me for allowing that to build up over time. But now we're at a point where we have a great staff and it's not by luck that they just listen to us and allow themselves to be guided by us.
Mm-hmm. Now we're in a position where a lot of the staff thank us. I never even thought I could get this far and I would never be here without you guys pushing me. And then we have staff that we push, some we push hard, some we push slow. It just depends. It's an individual thing.
It's okay to nudge people too. You don't have to, like I said, you don't have to rip the rug out. Like, hey, we're making this change, fall in line or get out of here. You don't have to be like that. You can switch it and say, hey, for a long time, I've been avoiding being a leader to you guys. You guys deserve better. Yep. So here's what it looks like moving forward. And here's why. And here's what's going to come out of that.
Yeah, I think that was last year I apologized for some stuff that I'd fallen short on myself where they were like, you're great. I'm like, not really, because I should have done X, Y, and Z and I did not do. So I want to apologize and here's what's going to happen moving forward.
You had reasons for that too.
Yeah. Well.
All right, let's jump into a couple of stories. So this is what happens when you just allow yourself to just play it safe. So my story is about the gym. So I haven't really had this happen that much at Hello because I've learned, and I'm a fairly quick learner, I would say, with this stuff. So I had to go back to the gym. I hired some people that just simply weren't qualified. Look, nobody was a bad person. None of my clients were in danger. They could take a class. They could have fun, but they weren't delivering excellence. They just didn't have the knowledge. They didn't have the years. They took a 2-day course and they were quote unquote CrossFit coach and they just assumed that they knew everything because Dunning-Kruger effect, you give somebody a little bit of information, and now that you know a little bit more than the average person, you think you know everything. And so that's what I ran into quite often with my gym, and probably a reason that I don't do it anymore, because I just got tired of trying to train people out of that you know everything mindset. I had gone to actual school for personal training and then taken a bunch of certificate courses and classes and had all these credentials and still didn't consider myself a master of anything. And I would have these people come in who would take a literal 2-day course and be trying to explain vertebrae structures to me. Just things that I'm like, what are you talking about? You don't even know what you're talking about, but you're trying to sound smart because you were armed with a tiny bit of knowledge. And so that's something that ultimately fell on me, and that hurt the business. I should have pushed people harder, and I didn't, because I was doing everything and I got burnt out and I thought, I don't have time for this, and all the excuses that everyone's thinking to themselves. Jenna, Eco, you have a couple.
These are a little embarrassing, but we went over this morning. I'm like, I'll talk about this because I'm sure it relates for somebody out there, and I hope to help. I definitely there was 2 of us for owners, and we were held hostage, I will say, by the top earners in our business. And rather than deal with it, we allowed a lot of stuff to happen. So my first story was we were trying to hire, and at that point, the staff, I didn't realize this, but it had shown itself, the staff was trying to get in the way of hiring new people. They didn't want them in there. They didn't want to change. They didn't want any new people. And so I found out that one of the staff had gone into our email to see the communication between us and the person we were trying to hire, and then actually called the salon that the girl worked at to let them know that she was trying to find a new job, and that girl got fired. And the reason why I knew this was because then she reached out to us like, hey, somebody from your salon just called my salon and told on me, basically. And doing some research, found out that now that person at our salon should have been fired. I don't even know if we really addressed much with her, just said, don't do it again and keep on doing what you're doing. And we just allowed it. And by allowing it, she became a huge cancer in our business. The other one was, I had found out after one of our girls wanted to leave, and she wasn't sure what her contract was. So one of our staff went into our office and went into our filing cabinet to find her contract, take pictures of it so she had it, rather than just ask and have honest conversations. And again, we found out about it. I'm not even sure if we had a conversation, and we did nothing about it, which led to a very disastrous culture shift in our business. And before we knew it, we had 5 people leaving at once, and they were all people that should have been fired. But rather it be on us, they just were gone, and now we had to rebuild, and eventually within a few months we closed.
Yeah, but you played it safe.
We played it safe. Yeah, it was too scared to say anything, too scared to address it. And if we did address it, we addressed it without any confidence. We weren't coming from anywhere of like, you cannot do this. And we should have set the precedent in the beginning, which led to just a staff that didn't believe in us, didn't trust us. And it became a free-for-all. And then it was too far gone. Now,
That's
my
crazy.
story may not be someone else's, but I guarantee you there are a lot of owners that can relate to letting certain things slide in their business because they want to avoid the conversation or they're afraid someone's going to quit. That is a place that you can get out of, but it takes work, and you're going to have to work on your leadership skills, your mindset skills, and having tough conversations and then making tough decisions.
Are walkouts still a thing?
I would imagine. Yeah, I heard of one recently. Yes, I think they are still a thing.
And yeah,
Bizarre, but yeah.
That's something that happens because of weak leadership, right? Your
Yeah,
team is
for
out
sure.
of there. They're not out of here because suites offer something
No.
that you don't. They're not out of here because booth rent is the end all be all. They're out of there because they're not seeing opportunity. They're not buying into your culture. They don't trust you. It's weak leadership. That's why they're out of there. Not out of there because you don't have Diet Coke and mini bags of Doritos.
Now, those stories did create who I am today as a better leader, and the things that I can now have conversations about that I enjoy. I enjoy the hard conversations because out of it, I hope for a better employee and a better staff and a better culture. And if that's not what comes out of it, then I know there's a hole in this person in our culture and it's time for them to go.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, let's.
So early on, maybe a year or two into Hello, we were looking at our prices, which came from your last salon,
Mm-hmm.
and we were like, this isn't sustainable because it wasn't based on actual math. It was
Right.
just based on guessing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I would say the majority of people out there, the business owners in salon land, are just basing it on a whim.
Yes.
You're like, this is what the area charges, so this is what I'll charge. Why am I losing money every month?
Yeah.
Well, Cindy, it's because you're not doing any math.
Yeah.
So we did a major. It wasn't even a price increase. This was an adjustment. This was an
Overhaul.
overhaul.
Yeah.
And some of those prices, because of clients being quote unquote grandfathered in and getting discounts and all this stuff, some of these prices exceeded 400%. Let me say that again. 400%. We had to do that. So is that scary? Should we just take the easy road? Should we just like do what we've always done?
I wanted to throw up often during this time
Just
period.
ignore it? Yeah. So we raised the prices. Some of these prices are going, some of these people are grandfathered in from $40 haircuts, right? Past price increases don't apply, or past price increases haven't applied to these
Right.
people. So they're at $40. And now we're going up to, in some cases, $120, $160, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's 300, 400% of a jump. And now you have to have the conversation with the client who's going, that doesn't apply to me, right? Because you've always taken the easy road and never raised their price. You've never wanted to have the difficult conversation. So now you have to have it. And what happened? They left. Clients left.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? The lesson was we weren't building Hello for yesterday's clientele.
Right.
We were building Hello for the future,
Mhm.
for our future, and for the future clientele that we wanted to serve.
Yes.
So eventually, funny story, a bunch of those clients came back
They did. Yes.
at a higher price.
They did. Yeah.
Because they went off and they realized that I can't get what's being provided at Hello. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I'm not saying great service doesn't exist other places. I'm saying what our particular clientele was looking for is what we provide,
Mm-hmm.
right? Say it again for the people in the back. Our particular clientele is looking for a service at a certain level. That's what we provide. You can do that in your business.
Mm-hmm.
You have to figure out the clientele you want to serve and then figure out how to have those difficult conversations and build the difficult business to get there.
The sooner the better. It also, we were talking about this earlier, but it gave a perspective for me at the time because I was the one that really needed to step up these raises, or this price increase was for my clientele. And I realized that
It was across the board.
It was across the board, but
It was every single price.
I had the biggest clientele that it was going to affect, I'll say. Like, so.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And this is where I had to put on my owner and leader hat. And if you're an owner that's also a technician in your salon, this really does apply to you. So in order for us to show growth to our staff, I realized I had to take on this growth mentality to show them that they could have haircuts at my price, that they could have color prices, that they could maintain a clientele even when some left, that you could rebuild that and new people would come in. And this was a huge learning curve for me because what this showed, and at the time I didn't realize it, but where I sit now, like, wow, that was amazing. And I'm so proud of what we went through. But it shows our staff that are all still with us, like, they too can do what I did because they saw me do it. They saw the success of it. And now they see potential for their future that goes beyond me. And that's one that was amazing. And we talked to certain owners like, I can't raise my prices. I just can't. Then how can you expect your staff ever to feel comfortable raising theirs or ever to believe in the process? If you don't do it, they don't see anything beyond you. And for most people, they don't even realize your staff's watching you. They want to be like you, or they want to be better than you. So you have to do better and be better for what you're doing. And your prices have to go up and you have to show them that growth potential through yourself.
Agreed. I'm proud of that point too, because it was a major turning point. And that is, I would say, the catalyst for getting us to where Hello was today, because it was a simple question. Like, what do we have to charge to live?
Yeah.
And then what do we have to charge to profit?
Yeah.
And then what do we have to charge to be able to provide the education that we're able to provide for our team and the resources that we're able to provide? What has to be true to answer all those questions? So I guess it wasn't one question, but it was diving in deep and peeling back the layers and doing that 5 whys thing when you ask a question, right?
Yep.
And really digging in. And a lot of that stuff was uncomfortable.
Very.
It was, Are we okay with a bunch of clients leaving
hmm
because we're jacking their prices up?
it was
Yeah, we have to be.
it was
Because
very uncomfortable.
nothing is going
The
to live here
yeah,
for very long.
it was the hardest thing I ever did as an owner. And now, years later, it's my proudest moment. I'm so proud of what we accomplished and what we've been able to accomplish. And it sets us up for so much for the future.
I want to talk about reacting and responding. So comparing those two things. So a lot of salon owners out there that I've seen are reacting. They have a problem and they react to it rather than respond
Mhm.
to it. And that might be semantics. You might be like, those are the same things. Here's what I mean by that. Say, for example, you have someone that cancels, right? That sucks. But stressing now about what do you guys do for your cancellation
Right.
policy? And this person isn't following it. And now they're doing a chargeback and blah, blah, blah. So you're just, look, just create your cancellation policy and move on. It's not something that compounds. You're arguing with the wrong people.
Yep.
You say, or you look at a staff member wants to add a new service. You're like, I can make revenue off of this. This is going to save the day. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know. You're reacting. You're
Right.
not really responding. You should be thinking that out. And there's nothing wrong, again, with making changes. I think that where most people make mistakes is they're making these emotional decisions instead of creating a response, slowing down,
Mhm.
evaluating, and comparing opportunity against your mission. Again,
Right.
core values and all
Has
that
to
stuff.
align.
Yeah. Ask yourself this. If you're not sure if you're making the right decision, am I solving the right problem? Like, does one canceled appointment mean you need a stricter cancellation policy? Probably not. It's just that person was going to not show up either way. That person was going to cancel last minute either way. It doesn't matter what your website says. Yeah, one client giving you a hard time doesn't mean you need to redesign your business.
Mhm. Or one of your staff members complaining about something doesn't mean you need a policy to make that staff member happy. You need to
Yeah,
explain what you have in place, or, hey, I'll take a look at it and see if it works. I'll get back to you. Those are
because
fine to do.
yeah, because if you ask yourself, am I solving the right problem?
Right.
Maybe the real problem isn't your cancellation policy at all. Maybe it's the fact that you're attracting the wrong clients.
Right.
Because the reality is, and I've said this a few times recently, you're going to spend time, effort, and money on people, right? So you can spend your time, effort, and money finding the right clients, or you can spend your time, effort, and money arguing with the wrong clients.
Right.
Neither option is free. They both require time, they both require effort, and they both require money.
But
So
which one puts
do you
your
want?
business ahead?
Yeah. All right. We kind of talked about building around one person and why you shouldn't do that. I had that in my notes here, but we can kind of, unless you have anything else to add.
No, I think that kind of
'Cause
self-explanatory.
I think the biggest pushback that people say was like, what if I lose this person? Let me sum it up for you. You might. But then what if you have the opportunity to build with somebody that actually believes in what you're building?
Yeah.
Which one would you rather have? Again, they both require time and effort.
Yep. They both are a risk.
Commitment. They're both a risk. Which one would you rather have?
Mhm.
I'd rather have the team that wants to build with me,
Yes.
that wants to grow, that wants to see others in our team grow. That's important too. And none of this gets to where it needs to be by just letting one person run the asylum,
hmm
right?
Yeah.
Or whatever the saying is, because you can't have a difficult conversation. Because what if I lose that person?
Mhm.
I think a better question is, what if it's you? What if you're the problem? What if that person isn't even the problem? You might say, oh, this person's a cancer in my business, or the buzzword this year and last year was toxic. So the toxic employee, we've got to get rid of a toxic environment. Look, you're allowing the toxicity to build.
Right.
You're the problem because you don't want to deal with the discomfort of change.
Mhm.
And if you don't change, like Jen said, she used the raising the prices example, but if you don't change your culture and what you accept, then that's your fault.
Right. That might
Let's
not feel
close.
good, but it's true.
Yeah, sorry to be the
Yeah.
bearer of bad news, but I don't know. I don't know how else to say it. It's
Mhm.
true. You probably shouldn't own a business if you can't make those changes
Mhm.
because you're holding people back and you're not succeeding and you're putting people in the wrong places for the wrong reasons. And I've never seen an example of that working.
Right.
Let's close on this, Jen. How many times have you had people ask, when does this get easier?
Often, very often. And the
What do you say?
answer is it doesn't.
Yeah.
Enjoy the highs when you have it, but also be aware that there are lows. I compare it to a rolling hill. You're always going to be up at the top of the hill, but eventually you're going to come back down a little bit. And like I said, enjoy your wins, but it doesn't get easier. Some stuff becomes a little easier the more you do it, I would say, but you're always going to have challenges and problems that come up, and you're going to have to face them. And the sooner you do, the sooner you get ahead.
I think that you never get to a point where you don't have problems. Your problems just change.
Yes.
And like Jen said, celebrate your wins for sure, but also be prepared for the next challenge. So don't stay like, oh, this is amazing and my business is amazing. Don't stay in that la la land for too long.
Yeah.
Because it's not reality. You're always going to have changes. That's the point of this. That's the point of being an entrepreneur. If you're not signing up for being a business owner because you're a problem solver, because you're somebody that loves diving into things that make them uncomfortable and learning and growing and taking people with you, if you're not in it for those reasons, get out.
True.
Just get out. Because I don't see anybody that's successful that isn't willing to dive into those things and make those changes. I even see people that are like, I'm not a math person. Well, you better get right with math. They tried to tell you you're going to need it since 4th grade. I think they were like, you're going to need math forever. Nobody listened. And now they're like, I'm not a math person. Then get someone that's a math person, because you need math to run a business.
Yep.
And I used this analogy this morning with Jen, and I think we could probably close on this, but business to me is a lot like eating strawberries. Hear me out, especially if you live here in the Northeast, United States. Strawberry season is what, a week?
Yeah, it's quick.
It's so short. And so you get a basket of strawberries fresh from the farm, and most are pretty good. And that's how your business days are going to be. Most of them are going to be like, okay, not bad. You're going to have some that are absolutely terrible, even maybe moldy. Ugh, we don't want those ones. That's crisis mode days. Get out of that as quick as possible. And then every once in a while, you're going to get one that literally tastes like the summer sun over a beautiful field. And that's the strawberry that makes it all worth it. Anything else, Jen?
No, love it.
That was a long one. All right, that's it. Bye, everyone.
Have a great day.